My name is Cousin Dre. You hear me on iHeartRadio 106 KBL. Monday through Friday, I do evenings 6 p.m. to 11. I appreciate you all having me. Shout out Pastor Rodney. Shout out Fame. Oakland is the second year up from the ashes. Make some noise for yourself. Celebrate 2 years. You know, just like the mental health discussion, we got some dope people up here. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves, and we're gonna jump right into this conversation because time is precious, and I want to make sure we get everything out. All right? We'll start at the end because we know you the man. We'll start down here, so I'll let you introduce yourself and work our way up.
Okay, I appreciate it. Can everyone hear me okay? Is the mic on? Okay. Thank you for having me. I'm Graham Betchart. I'm a mental performance coach. I've been doing this work for about 25 years. I got introduced to this as a 19-year-old going through a rough time, my first year of college basketball, super anxious, super depressed. I reached out to my mom, asked for help, and she said, "Did you know you can rewire your brain?" And I didn't know what that meant, but I heard hope, and it started my journey of service, and I'm here today in service to share everything I've learned the last 25 years in the mental health space. I work with professional athletes, artists, humans of all kinds. So thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me be here. I'm grateful to be here.
How's everybody doing? I go by the name of Adrian Marcel, born and raised here in East Oakland. We're in West Oakland, but born and raised in Oakland. And I'm a singer, songwriter, entrepreneur. You know, in the industry, it's a very up and down business. You know, it brings a lot of anxiety. It brings a lot of fears. It unlocks things that can create depression and such like that. So when my good friend Tassian invited me to come speak, I jumped at the opportunity to speak on these subjects and such because I think it's very important that, you know, our young people and just people in general, you know, have ideas of how they can, you know, get a grip on themselves and what they've been through. So thank you guys for having me.
Hey everybody. I am Rodney D. Smith, and I am from St. Louis, Missouri. I am a transplant here in the Bay Area. I pastor the historic First AME Church, affectionately known as Fame. And we're here to dive into this whole conversation of mental health. I want to thank the panel, and thank you again, Cousin Dre, for your support and all that you for Fame. And lastly, if you're not going to church tomorrow, we have a church for you to go to. See somebody in the yellow, and they'll let you know where we are. God bless.
All right, let's get to it. So we got 6 questions, y'all. I'm just gonna read them all. I'm gonna let everybody, you know, get their time. We're gonna answer it. At the end, we'll do Q&A. If you got questions over there, you know, it's a family thing. We're just gonna talk and have a good conversation. All right, that's cool? Yeah. All right, let's get to it. First question. How has mental health influenced your life, and what steps have you taken to prioritize your well-being? I'll go first. I got the mic. Mental health has influenced my life. Honestly, I'll say from the moment you wake up, right? Your first thoughts predicts the rest of your day. You know what I'm saying? If you wake up negative, tripping, or whatever, what they say, on the wrong side of the bed, 9 times out of 10, it's just gonna flow the rest of the day until you get home or whatever. So I try to wake up, you know, feeling positive, you know, affirmations for myself, waking my game up, you know, you can do it, let's go get to it, let's go get this bag, you know what I'm saying? And so I always say, you know, when you wake up on the right side of the bed, it'll help you with your mental health, and that's how I apply it to myself. So, Mr. Grimm, the real professional, that was cute.
You're on it. You're on it.
Doing the real way, Grimm, go ahead.
Well, mental health is a part of every second of my life, every day. And just like he was saying, the power of affirmation, I like to start there every day, and I just start with gratitude when I wake up. I'm just thankful I woke up. You know what I mean? Like, you just start with that because you don't get a warning that you're not going to wake up. So you go, okay, I'm grateful to be here right now with you guys in the present moment. And so what I'm always trying to do with my mental health is be present, like be here with you. Instead of pre-living, worried about the future, or reliving past patterns or whatever, it's like, okay, let me be here right now and see my good friend Bernard in there, right? Let me just be here present with him. We've been close for 20 plus years, working on this our whole life. So what helped me a lot is this is an everyday practice. This isn't a perfection. So I'm not perfect at being present, but I do my best. And I just start with gratitude that I'm alive today. And then affirmation that I was taught when I was 19 going through a tough time that really helped me was, I love myself unconditionally. So I would say that to myself 100 times a day, write it down. And what that's saying is, I'm with God, I love myself, I'm good, no matter what the results are, what struggles I'm going through. That affirmation kind of grounds me. So affirmation's powerful. And then it's an everyday practice, right? So this is where we keep it real. This is not a luck thing or out of your hands. Hey, let's practice this every day. When do we practice being present? What do you guys think? How about right now? How about right now? Let's do it right now. So anyway, that's kind of my daily practice, and I got introduced to that, and it felt like it really helped my life out. Some days are tougher, some days are a little easier, right? But we show up and do the best we can. So,
in the music business and art business in general, like I said before, it's a very up and down, business. And for artists that are trying to find themselves, that are trying to build a career, that are trying to, touch people, touch others, and through their music or through their art, it gets iffy because you deal with so many politics. You deal with people who are telling you, whether you're good or not good enough, and if you're a young artist, you can believe it, you can fall into that issue mentally. And for me, being able to get through that, I always give my thanks to my parents, to my support system, my family, that have always taught me to believe in myself, to listen to the inner voice more than the outer voices, and through that, always just believing that we won't always know what our purposes are, or where we're supposed to be in the directions, and just kind of always remembering that the date is not more important than the destination sometimes. So, for me, I've always had this thing where, I love myself first so that I can love others, and that I can make music that can make others feel loved and can make others feel like they're related to, and that I'm going through the same things that they've been through and that they're going through, and things that I practice. Number one, I don't know about anybody's individual faith in here or religion or such, but I'm very strong on relationship and my relationship with God. So, and that was given to me by my grandmother, rest her soul. And it's always been this unwavering faith that I have, that I don't always have to see the road, but I know God is in control, and that He's leading it. So sometimes it may not be going the way that, I think it should be going, but I have enough faith to understand that it's going the way that He wants it to go, that God wants it to go. So whatever that is, I just stay prepared, I stay ready, I love myself, I love others, I try to lead with as much love as possible, do good by people, be right with people, be right with God, and and I let the rest just kind of be what it's gonna be, So.
You got it.
I got it. I want to admit, Cousin Dre, I'm having a mental health crisis right now.
Talk to him. That's what we're here for, Pastor. Let's do it.
I need somebody to save me 4 chicken tacos. I'm gonna have a meltdown.
6. I need 2 of them.
Like, for real. Like, somebody, please. Okay. Ironically, I have both my mothers here, my mother-in-law and my mother from Los Angeles and from St. Louis. Ironically, my mother, you were talking about the music piece, so I just turned 50, January the 15th. 50 Club. I'm a Silver Fox pastor. But my mother, ironically, has been sharing with me tapes of when I was a child. She would tape me preaching and singing. And because of the pressures of pastoring and constantly trying to please people, and you have a lot of stresses that come with that, mental health has been something that has been really, really deep. So I showed up with Black Men Need Therapy, and obviously all people need therapy. But as an African-American male, I can relate to the pressures of just being a man. and waking up and the anxiety that brings you. And what has been my saving grace in my recent years actually has been music, because it allows you to escape. And I would say to everybody listening, where do you go to escape? Where do you go to escape? My mothers, they knit, right? That gives some level of peace. Some sing. Some go to their grandmother used to go to the prayer closet. But I think as we start talking about mental health, you need something in your life that you can do outside of the pressures and the norms of what you do on a daily basis. Because no matter how beautiful your smile is, nobody really knows the pain that's really inside you, because sometimes it's difficult for the people who love you to accept that you may have a mental health challenge or mental health challenges daily.
The question is, what resources do you suggest for managing depression, fear, anxiety, and other mental health issues?
My answer is going to be, what is your spiritual base? I think we all need a base. And your base is your foundation. And as I have experienced moments in my life where I've been in those depressive moments, when I talk to people who are depressed or going through that season, depression doesn't always look like what y'all think it looks like. Because depression can be in a three-piece suit, driving a 500 Mercedes-Benz, living in a house in the hills. And so my answer to that is, where is your base? Where is your source? Do you meditate? Do you pray? Do you have a place to go to escape, to tap back into yourself, to get yourself on course? One of the frightening numbers that I read recently was the number of suicide that are happening amongst younger people. And males are now beginning to climb the chart. And the only thing I can say about that, Cousin Dre, is when you feel like you are completely hopeless and there is nowhere to go, I must tell you that God loves you.
For me, kind of following up what you're saying, Pastor, about foundation, base, and escape. Something that has worked for me is this word I come up with, and it's called grip. And we can use it as getting a grip on your life, getting a grip on yourself. But GRIP, and G, being, for me, this is just my thing. My resource has been the gym. I love to work out. My mother, has this budding joke. She's like, you just like to look at yourself in the mirror and look good and all that. And it's like, yeah, that too. That too, of course, we want to look good. But even more than that, the gym has become sort of my therapy. Outside of a therapist, being able to go inside and lift weights, lift these heavy weights, and you think I think mentally to myself, like, if I can connect my mind and body enough to push this weight, I can connect them to push the weights of life as well, too, and push through those things as well. So for me, the gym has played a very big part in that. Reading. I have to have an hour of quiet time, that I can read and that I can ingest some knowledge of any sort, but to me, that's sort of meditation, that quiet time to just be in my thoughts, be in the words that others are sharing, that again, an artist put on this paper to relate and to have someone to relate to. So reading has been, huge monumentally for me. I is intimacy, and not intimacy like, with a, sexual partner or anything like that, but the intimacy of loved ones, of friendship, whether it's my family, it's my people that I work with, to have a support system of people around you that, like we talked about, can unlock the code to your creativity, to your spirit, to open you up, and you can do that for them as well, so a hug, brother brothers coming together and just feeling that love from each other, you know, to have like that intimacy with others that you can connect. Again, like you said, we don't know what depression looks like all the time. But even though we may not be able to see it, they should be able to feel the love that we have and that we're transferring of energy to them, you know. And last but not least, it's only because the word is grim, but prayer. You know, prayer is a huge part of my life to where, you know, when I have issues, when I have things that I'm going through, and, you know, I've dealt with depression a lot. I've dealt with fear a lot, anxiety a lot. And whenever I have those times where it gets almost unbearable, like I can't control it, I give it to God. You know, I call on him, and a lot of people, I always hear, you know, some people say like, well, you know, I hear people talk about, you know, talking to God, but I don't hear nothing. Nobody's talking to me. It's like, it's not about hearing anything. It's silence. You know, and again, going back to the reading and having that hour of quiet time, like I allow myself to be open to hear God speak to me. And sometimes he checks me, you know what I mean? It's like, I gotta apologize sometimes because I'm like, God, I'm out here tripping right now. Like, I'm asking you and I'm like, I'm talking to you like you doing something wrong. You know what I'm saying? And really it's me. I'm tripping. Like, I'm not, you know, using the gifts you gave me because I'm looking at it like the gift you gave me was singing. And that's not doing this or that's not doing that. He's like, no, I gave you a lot of gifts. I gave you a lot. I blessed you. We talked about waking up in the morning. That's a blessing right there. So there's purpose for you here. So, you know, GRIP, those have been kind of like, you know, my things that I've used as resources to always just get a grip on myself and and keep a grip on my life. So, yeah.
For me, I look at God as the head coach, and my job is the player. And so I have to hear the play every day. And if I can't hear the play from God, I can't run the route. So I look at myself like a receiver, right? Let's look at ourselves like receivers. God's the quarterback. I get in the huddle and hear the play. How do I get in the huddle? I go work out. Because after you work out, notice how much better you hear the play. Before you work out, it might seem like the world is ending. An hour later, after working out, you're like, it's not so bad. And now I can hear God. And what you do when you hear it, it may not come through in words, you can feel it. So what I notice, God just talks to my body. It doesn't come through English words or something like that. You feel it. And when you feel it, that's it. Go do it. That's the faith in service, is you do it, and your mind's like, how's it gonna work? The faith is, I don't need to know how it works, just go do the work. So that, to me, that's my daily devotional. And devotion to me is a really powerful word. It's way different than motivation. Motivation means you do this when you feel it. That by definition means you're not gonna do it very often because you're not gonna feel it very often. Devotion means, I don't feel like doing it today, but I'm going to go do it. You know what I mean? That's devotion. And the good feeling comes after the devotion. So that's my service to God, is every day I'm devoted to hear the play. And when I hear the play, I'm going to run the route. Even if the play is clearly not going to come to me, I'm going to run that route. And you run it every single day, because as soon as you think it's not for you, God is amazing. It'll be for you. And then all of a sudden, I look at it like sports. That ball's going to be in your hand. You better go once it comes to you, because God's going to put it right on your hands when you think you have no chance. So every day the devotional is move your body. So coming back, if I'm feeling depressed or anxious, go move your body for a half hour. Notice how you feel after. This is a chemistry equation. You're going to shift the chemistry in your body, but I always thought you got to meet God halfway. I can't sit in my bed and be like, hey, what's the deal? Make me feel better. I got to go out there and do the 30 minutes work, and God's like, okay, you did it. How do you feel now? And I go, I feel much better. Now I'm better being present. Now I'm better at serving, right? All those things get much better. So it's a daily devotion. And when I say move your body, anything. Walk around the block. Walk up your stairs 2 or 3 times. And if you don't have time for that, there's something I want to teach you right now. You can focus on your breath. And you can do breathing for like 60 seconds. And that'll take you out of your head and bring you into your body so you can hear God. And if you think of yourself like an instrument, when you hear God well, it's a good vibration. But if you're out of tune, you got to tune yourself so you can hear better. Our work every day is tuning ourselves. So for me, mental health it's an everyday practice. So here's another practice that'll help. It's called the 4-7-8. You're gonna breathe in for 4 seconds through your nose, and then we're gonna hold our breath for like 7, and then slowly breathe out through our mouth. And by holding your breath, that's physical in nature, right? So if you're feeling anxious or depressed, which is energy, as we hold our breath, we're starting to shift that energy. We're shifting the energy, and we're changing the energy, right? And that's our job here in the human experience. We have to go shift that. We can shift that energy. We can raise the vibration. We got to work a little bit. So if you guys want to, let's practice this breath real quick. I'll lead you through it. Okay, just do the best you can. We'll do 2 rounds of it. So you just follow my voice, do the best you can. You ready? Let's do a nice exhale. Let all your air out. And let's breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Good. Slowly out of your mouth. Good rhythm. 4, 3, 2, 1. One more round. Inhale through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold. Good job. Good hold right here. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Slowly out of your mouth. Fabulous. 3, 2, 1. Now, if you had to try to hear God right now, notice how much more clear it is after 2 rounds of breathing. Does that make sense? So every day, let's hear the play and let's run the play, all right?
Third question. How has modern day technology, this is a good one. How has modern day technology such as social media altered the discourse surrounding mental health? Graham? Yes, sir.
It's like it's perfectly lined up, because how can you hear God if you're hearing all the social media stuff? You know what I mean? So this stuff is everywhere, and it's like I have to have a practice where I can learn to kind of move that out of the way, you know? And like Adrian said, I gotta hear. I gotta create some silence so I can hear better. We like to say prayer is talking to God, meditation is learning to listen to God. And so if we can listen and create that space where we're learning to listen, probably need to turn the social media off, right? You got to turn these things off so you can turn on God. The good news is that's a choice, right? That's a choice. So it is a major challenge, especially for young people, right? You see them all the time. It seems like they can't hear correctly because they're just comparing themselves to everyone on social media, and they're caught in that game. Yep. And I like to think, if I'm comparing myself to something out here, I cannot have a connection to God in here. You know what I mean? So, but I don't look at this like a victim. I'm like, this is all God just putting it out there to point me to make sure I keep turning in. So the main thing I've noticed with all this is let's not victimize ourselves. Let's be willing to maybe be a little bit vulnerable and kind of lean into this, practice this. And I look at all these challenges like God is like, welcome to the weight room on earth. We're going to train down here. you know what I mean? Like, we're here to train. So the word adversity doesn't even apply to me. That's like walking into like a gym and you're like, oh, I'm mad at these weights. You're like, that's what they're there for. Right? So we're here on earth training. So we go through this stuff. Let's embrace it. Let's see if we can hear clearly through all the challenges and do this practice every day. This blew me away. My first teacher told me she could hear the sun. And I didn't believe that, but now 28 years later, I know that more and more. She could hear the subtle so powerful, she could pick it up so quickly. And if you notice, when someone's doing this work, they giggle a lot, they laugh a lot, they enjoy a lot. In all situations, they bring joy because they can hear the source in all of it. So social media is a distraction for sure. I think we have to accept that it's here and then make sure we choose our response to how we live with it and how we work with it.
You know, social media is a tool, and like any tool, it doesn't work unless you use it the right way. You know, obviously, it gets misused. You look at any social medias, and everybody's rich, everybody's balling. You know, I mean, everybody's overseas living up crazy. You know, it's like when I go overseas, I'm like, where are these places at? Like, is everybody spending $10,000 on the villa? You know, like I don't want to do that. You know, but you know, when you talk about the connection of depression, it makes sense. You know, you turn your phone on and every second scroll is somebody flossing, is somebody showcasing something that we don't know is real or not. You know, social media is not supposed to be taken as real life. You know, it was always supposed to be just a tool, you know, to inspire, to motivate, but somewhere along the lines, it got screwed up and everything, and now it's being used to these other suggestions that if you don't have as much money as I have, you broke. You know, if you're not living like me, you did something wrong. You supposed to be this age rich. You're not supposed to be, you know what I mean? So, I mean, for a young person, I know I have all these nephews and nieces, you know, that are extremely inspired by success, and sometimes the wrong success, you know, the easy success. So they're looking at it like, well, I gotta ball out now, you know, and it's like, not really. You got time. You don't know what your purpose is supposed to be just yet. Why does he have this and I don't? We are individuals. We are all different, and we have all a different purpose here. And, you know, I've been through it different times, but I've been able to just find grounding in the fact that, you know, I'm special, and it's not about what I can do or how many people know me. I'm special because I made it through the biggest, you know, race in life. I'm here. You know, again, we talk about waking up. Let's talk about we were born. We went through that race of millions against millions and billions of different, you know, suggestions of people coming. So I think, yeah, it's just about us sometimes taking a break, you know, allowing social media to be like any other TV show. Like, you go on there to look at it and to use it for what you can get out of it. And once you realize that it's not giving you nothing valuable to use, turn it off and go get a book and go to the gym or go pray or go meditate, go do something, get outside, move around like he's saying, you know. I think that something we should all do is kind of look at our phones and go into the screen time and see how much screen time we spending on these social platforms, you know. And if you're spending more screen time than you spending with yourself, you know, then I think there's the adjustment that can happen right there. And like you said, the good thing is it's a choice.
So the reality is trauma creates habits. And you may be here today and you may have a habit that only you know about because you know what you're doing. But that habit is stemmed from how you dealt with that trauma. And what you've heard this afternoon is there is no dead end wall. And that begins the trauma when you feel like this is it for me. When you say life will never get better than this. When you say I have done all of these things and I don't deserve not only for somebody else to love me, but for me to love myself. So I will close with this. One of the greatest things that I was inspired by my mother was to be able to dream to be anything in the world. And I want to leave you with this thought as we deal with trauma. If your life started today, right? If you're 100 years old, but today was the first new day of your life, or you were 18 or 15, and this was the first new day of your life, my question to you is, what is your assignment? And usually when we think about assignment, we think about something life assignment. But what is your assignment today? What is your assignment the next 5 minutes? What is your assignment when we leave this panel? What is your assignment when you go around and walk and visit all these people? And a lot of times, I like what you said, Doc, we're so focused on things that never happen. The majority of us have anxiety over something right now that's never going to happen. I'm gonna tell you what happened to me. When I moved to Oakland, I got welcomed to Oakland twice. So somebody tell me what happened.
Welcome to the
car, I'm looking at my windows. And I heard God speak to me and say, stop it. You're looking for something to happen that probably has happened, that may never happen again. And you carry that anxiety, so now you got a drinking problem, now you got an eating problem, now you got a social disorder. All because we don't know where to place these traumas. So I simply ask you, what is your assignment, not your life assignment, but who are you supposed to speak to before we leave this panel? Who are you supposed to say, I see you? Like my brother in the red jacket and the black hat that I was talking to outside, I see you. Did you hear me? I said, I see you. I'm gonna say it to you again, I see you. And you're not gonna solve everything because we came and gave you all of this beautiful information. You're gonna solve it 1 second, 1 minute, 1 hour at a time. Love.
The next question I'll lead to the mental health professional. In your professional field or personal life, what early signs and symptoms do you recognize as indicators of a mental health crisis?
Well, I notice when someone's pre-living or reliving. Like they're anxious about the future, and you can tell they're fearful about the past. Just like walking to the car, and you know, so you can see anxiety in people, right? You can see it. So when you start to notice stuff like that, I just have a lot of compassion, you know, and know there's some work to do, right? And you just start to build a bond and connection because there's a skill set that gets you out of it. But what I like to think about is instead of reacting to mental health crisis, let's proactively give people some skills so they can work with this. Let's tell them it's okay to be vulnerable. Let's tell them it's okay to be real. It's okay to not feel comfortable, right? It's okay to not be okay at times, you know. So for me, I was in a mental health crisis as a teenager, and I was smiling my way through, just pretending everything was okay, right? Everything is okay. I'm just Mr. Positive. And there was a huge crisis going on inside of me, you know. So I think checking in with people, not just if it looks like they're going through a hard time, right? It might be a 3-piece suit, pull up in a 500 band, you're smiling, and that person's going through a crisis right now. So checking in with new people, connecting, if you get a chance to be around young people, connect with them, check in with them. When I ask how you're doing, I always tell them, you don't have to be okay, just so you know. You don't have to say okay, you can say, I'm not doing well at all. And that's success, right? Because you're being real. And then we can do something about it. You know, so the more present we are, I feel like we can connect with other people. We can start to see these patterns, and you can see these patterns in other people. And we have a skill we like to practice called palms down. So palms down, I'm gonna stand here. Palms down is the opposite of doing this when something happens in life, right? Someone cuts you off in traffic, you're like, oh, right? In the context of sports, referee doesn't give you a call. Why didn't you see this? This is the most helpless expression in life, right? You're in the past. You're reacting emotionally to something that's in the past, right? So there's something you can do about that. We call it palms down. Palms down, so everyone do this. And there's a little rhyme we got. It goes like this. I don't react, I respond. I take a breath, and I move on. Just like that. Let's all do that together. You guys ready? I don't react, I respond. I take a breath, and I move on. Okay. So that's a skill. You're going to feel the reaction. I'm going to go to my car, and I feel like my window's out. Hey, take a breath. That's breaking the pattern of anxiety. If we just act like this, you're right in the loop. As soon as you just breathe for 60 seconds and stop, you have broken that pattern in that moment. And that's the start of the trauma. That's the start of what I do with this trauma. I'm breaking that pattern, I'm going to breathe, and then go exercise, go eat well, go get good rest. Right? All those things come into play. But let's do it one more time. I don't react, I respond. I take a breath, and I move on. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Graham. Last question for you, Adrian Marcel. How has mental health influenced your life?
You know, with, again, just what I do, I think it takes a lot of faith. It takes a lot of surety in self. It takes a lot of confidence, and it's still things that I'm working on every day. I'm working on that confidence. As an entrepreneur, you're building new things, you have new ideas. There's new fears that are constantly unlocked every day. So, but as far as how it's influenced me is just, how I'm able to touch others, how I'm able to relate to others just by being real, and like you said, being present. I think that I have learned this new thing to stop asking, why me? It's never that question when things are going good. When successful things happen, I never say, oh God, why me? You know what I'm saying? Why you blessing me with this check? Why you blessing me with this? That never happens, but when something negative does, when we don't get what we want, when our car is bipped, when anything happens, it's like, God, why me? And with trauma, it's even more real like that. God, why me? Why did you put me through this? Why did you run me through this mud? And I've changed it now to, why not me? It's about being chosen. And you're not always chosen for the glamour and the glitz. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're chosen for the war. We're soldiers, and I think that some of the toughest battles are given to his toughest soldiers. So sometimes it's really good and it's hard. Again, Pastor, you go to your car and if it gets booked, you're gonna have to really remember I respond. You're gonna have to really breathe. It may take a couple breaths. A bundle of breaths. But outside of that, just in thinking to yourself, they always say there's a reason for everything. Everything happens for a reason, but everything doesn't happen for a reason too. There's a lot of times that, I'm waiting for this one thing to happen that doesn't happen. And I equate that to the amount of success that I have or how successful I am at this moment. But then a week later, a month later, 2 months or whatever it is, you look up and you're like, that saved my life. That wasn't supposed to happen. God gave me something bigger. You know what I mean? He gave me something extremely larger than what I was looking for, and so I just kind of always think about, being chosen, whether it's negative, whether it's positive, the fact that God is listening to me. God is seeing me. He's in tune with me. He's putting me through things, and I'm as a soldier, I'm prepared for it to be the war and the glamour, whatever that is. So it's influenced me major because I'm able to touch other people and give these messages to other young artists, other young people. Because again, with a world full of social media, a world full of all this hate that's going on right now with politics and everything else, it can lead to that confusion that we talked about. So, and if I can go through it, then I can give it back to you. I can give it back to my kids, to other people that I'm meeting and coming across. So, that's it.
Before Cousin Dre closes us out, I want to thank all of you guys for coming up. Come on, let's give them a hand. Miss Essence, thank you. She's a quiet storm. Thank you. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Tatiana, and all of the committee. Sister Newell here? Right here. There she is. I need you to see her immediately following the conclusion of this. She's going to give you a pamphlet, and then when you go to her table, she'll give you some information. And last but not least, I want to thank this brother for all you do for our community, how you ride with our church, our community. Let's give him a hand. Let's stand up and give him some love. Come on, let's give him a warm welcome. Thank welcome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys having me. Real quick, I want to encourage you guys to, if you haven't already, stop by and see these tables, they're all here for you all. Resources, information that you can use and need and pass on to somebody else. Please just stop by each table. Speak to somebody that you don't know today, because we all came here for a reason. Let's make friends, right? We can grow together. We all going through something. You don't know what the next person going through that you can help out with. You know what I'm saying? Like this gentleman back here, man. Y'all go love on bro back here, man. Y'all know what he going through. Show blood some love. We here for you, bro. Like Pastor said, we see you, bro. We all here together for real. Appreciate you guys for having us. This is the second annual Up From the Ashes event. We appreciate you guys.